Good to catch up with our buddy Gregg Bell at the Tacoma News Trib. Covers the Seattle Seahawks for us out in the Pacific Northwest. Greg, my man, always great to have you back on the show. Let's start with I was just looking at this guy, Geno, and his problems. And, they're not that serious, right? The hip and the knee and everything else. Like they said, he's fine. But talk about the quarterback room, because it's like Howell backing up Geno. Is that about right? Sam Howell?
By a lot, yes. They got Sam Howell in a trade of swap of draft picks plus Howell in the spring to be the experienced backup the last couple of years Drew Lock was. And then Drew Lock signed with the Giants on a one-year free agent deal. So they wanted someone with experience. Of course, Sam Howell just started last year for the Washington Commanders, 4-13, 21 interceptions, led the league, threw more passes than anybody because the Commanders were always losing, 612 passes. Scott, he is as far from competing for the starting job as you can imagine. He is actually closer to competing with P.J. Walker, the former Cleveland Browns and journeyman 8-year veteran, for the second job than he is with Geno Smith for any meaningful snaps this year. But he did run the offense for 4 days last week when Smith had the knee and hip issues. He might run the offense Saturday when the Seahawks and Chargers play the first preseason game in Inglewood, because they might be cautious with Geno Smith just coming off the knees. Today will be his fourth practice coming back from it. Mike McDonald, the new coach, said he is going to play most of his starters against the Chargers on Saturday, though. But, yeah, there is no competition at all out here. It's Geno Smith, clearly.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the guys that were listed that are banged up already, possibly for this game on Saturday in Lipstick City. Noah Fant. My boy Jerome Baker, who they got from the Dolphins. I love that guy. I think he's a player. I thought that was a steal, if you ask me. And then Mike Morris, and Draymond Jones, both edge guys, right? Like, are all those guys out of that game? And what are your thoughts on what Jerome Baker brings to that team?
I think Mike Morris will play in that game. They don't want to see what versatility he can give along the defensive line. Mike McDonald is having his defensive line all kinds of different positions. Leonard Williams, former Giant Jet, said he's playing 6 different positions along the defensive line right now. The chance here for all defensive front guys, and in Baker's part of the front 7, is this versatility piece and confusing offenses. Mike McDonald's beauty in the Baltimore Ravens system when he was the defensive coordinator last year was confusing offenses, showing them something before the snap, jumping to something else at or after the snap. Baker is playing inside, weak side linebacker when he's been on the field. He missed all offseason practices with a wrist injury and surgery he had from the Miami last season. And then now he's got a recent new injury, hamstring issue that's had him out the last 4 days. So he may not play against the Chargers. But it's going to be Baker when he gets healthy and Terrell Dotson as a new inside linebackers. Dotson, the play caller, replacing Bobby Wagner, who's now, of course, in Washington. And they let Jordan Brooks sign with the Dolphins, which is why they had to go get Jerome Baker. Baker has a chance to be a real every down guy. They'll keep him on the field because of his speed in the pass game. He's just got to prove he can stop the run. This team was 31st in the league, Scott, last year against the run. It was like bulls running in Pamplona when teams ran the ball against Seattle last year.
Your boy Greg. Hey, so what is it like to go to a camp without Pete Carroll there?
It is different, Scott, for sure. Mike McDonald is almost the opposite personality-wise of Pete Carroll. Carroll was really loose and free, and everyone knows his persona, and not to mention he was the oldest coach in the league at age 72. Mike McDonald's the youngest, just turned 37. McDonald is very direct. I saw a scene of players after a practice, 10 young players go straight into the locker room after they adjourn practice while the rest of the veterans are go signing autographs for fans at training camp. And McDonald angrily told one of his assistants to fish those 10 guys right back out of the building. They did. They ran out to McDonald, and McDonald gruffly said, "Go get on the wall," to the fence where the fans were getting autographs from players. That was the standard. He said, as everyone does it and nobody gets out. He wants to be very consistent and disciplined on those type of messages, even down to that level. Pete Carroll would have put his arm around those guys later inside away from everybody and said, "Hey, come on, guys, you need to be out there for that. You know how it goes." this whole fight thing you may have seen yesterday, GK Metcalf flinging a helmet at a teammate and Jake Bobo getting an uppercut from a teammate. Well, it was Mike McDonald who set this tone from the first day the pads went on. He wants them to be tougher and physical, and this camp has been both. And then it culminated in yesterday's practice. Scott, yesterday was the first time I've seen a practice at the Seahawks look like the Legion of Boom days in 10 years. I thought Richard Sherman was out there beating up an undrafted rookie wide receiver again, like it was 2013 when the Seahawks were the number one defense in the league. I'm not saying they have the talent for that, but McDonald's trying to get them to get back to that mentality. Tougher. If it causes fights, so be it. They finally drew the line yesterday with swinging a helmet. DK Metcalf had a teammate. McDonald brought them all together in the middle of the field and said, no more of that. Then there was a fight between two linemen in the pass rush drill, and he kicked them off the practice field and put them in the locker room for the first time all camp. But make no mistake, Mike McDonald wants it this way, and he wants them to push the envelope. And if it causes some fight, so be it. Starting Saturday, they can go do that against another team for a change.
Respectfully, I have a minute. They obviously, I think, made the right choice. I think that guy can flat out coach. And his defense was sickening. And I'm a Steeler fan. I hate the Ravens, and I know how good they are. They're our arch rival, and that guy was a pain in my ass. The other thing I'm worried about, though, is, frankly, to have Metcalf, to have Lockett, to have Njigba, to have that much talent at receiver, even tight end. And then I just don't buy that they have, frankly, a good enough quarterback to light up that kind of talent. Like, they have all the talent in the world catching, and I don't believe they have it throwing. Eventually here, I'm going to run out of time, Greg. So I just want to say I'm excited that they got McDonald. It's going to be interesting to see if they win with him here in this first season. And if Geno can get going again. They got a lot happening out in Seattle. Nobody thinks they're going to do anything. So I think it's going to be fun to follow them. We'll catch up again, get you back on the show as the season starts and progresses. Always good to see you, Gregg Bell. Thank you, my man.
Yes, sir.